And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Watman versus Edwards. Step forward.
19-year-old Jaylee Watman is suing former roommates-to-be, Tommy Edwards, and his 16-year-old daughter, Cheyenne, for the return of rent. Jaylee says the defendants were evicted from the home before she ever moved in.
Mr. Edwards, I'm going to start with you.
Yes, sir.
This is your daughter.
Yes.
You and your daughter were living together in an apartment. Your daughter is 16.
Correct.
You had work or something that required you to move out of that apartment from one city to another?
I travel.
So you were leaving the apartment. How short?
5 days at a time. Come home on the weekend.
At one point, you told your daughter that if she got a responsible adult, she could stay in the apartment because the choice was either leaving this apartment and she would have to go. Are you her mother?
I am.
She'd have to go and live with her mother. She didn't want to live with her mother. She wanted to stay in the apartment. So far as that, what's your first name?
Cheyenne.
Is that about right?
Yes.
So you found Miss Watman. How did you find her?
We have mutual friends.
What did you do? Did you put out the word that you were looking for someone who was over 18?
Julie and I were talking about our lives and updating each other, and I told her that
What's your first name?
Jaylee.
So you were talking to each other?
Yeah.
On the phone or through texting?
Text.
Or through texts?
Yeah.
And?
I said, I'm looking for a roommate, and she said, well, I just so happen to be looking somewhere to move out to.
And in what month was that?
I believe it was in June.
June of 2013?
Yes.
And where do you live?
I live in Ogden, Utah.
And where was your father going?
To work in California.
To work where?
California.
Doing what?
Pumping concrete.
And how long was he expected to be gone?
He said that he would be coming back on the weekends, and we don't know how long he would be gone at a time. But he didn't work on weekends, so he would come down and then go back.
You mean fly from Utah to California and back?
Yes.
That must be a very good job to pay for that. Round trip airfare every weekend. That doesn't sound like something that I believe at all. Did she come and look at the apartment?
Yes.
When did she come and look at the apartment?
I was working, so I'm not sure when. I just left her the key.
Where did you leave her the key?
Underneath a mat that was by the apartment door.
She did not leave the key. It was on June 27th, the day that I went to look at the apartment, and I had to go to her work to go get the key.
Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah, huh? You know, I mean, I may be losing my memory. I'm 70 years old. How old are you? You're 16.
Yes.
You should remember what happened to you. We're only talking a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You got to spend time thinking and not blowing out your hair. Now, let's go back. She came to look at the apartment, and she got the key from whom?
I guess she came to my work.
Not guess. I want you to think.
So she did come to my work because I had forgotten it. I didn't remember that.
You were supposed to leave it under the mat?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Got to start thinking. Now, had your father left already?
Yes.
So he was in California?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Positive.
When had he left?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, let's think. Was it a week before, 2 weeks before, 2 days before, a day before? I want you to start to put on your thinking cap.
Okay.
When did he leave the Don't speak to her.
Just trying to help her remember, that's all.
No, I don't want you to help her do anything. If you wanted to help her, you wouldn't leave a 16-year-old in an apartment by themselves. That's helping.
It was somewhere in the month of June. It wasn't too long after he had left that I was looking for a roommate.
How much money did Miss Watman give you?
$300.
And she was supposed to move in July?
Yes.
Did she?
No.
Why not?
I got evicted.
I want you to tell me how that worked out. Who told you you were evicted, or did you come home and find the locks off?
A lawyer called me that day. She said you have an hour to get your belongings out until an officer comes to change your locks.
And you knew nothing about it?
No.
You sure?
Yes, I'm positive.
And when your father left for California, was the arrangement that you were supposed to stay in the apartment or go to live with your mother?
I was going to stay in the apartment and continue going to school and working.
Well, that sounds so strange because your father left the same month, so I would have assumed that your responsible father who left you alone in the apartment paid June's rent, right?
Yes.
What were you being evicted for?
Not paying rent.
Well, how could you not pay rent if he paid June's rent?
He didn't pay the rent.
Why not? You were still there according to your daughter. No answer. Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $300. Thank you, that's all.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Probably a good decision. I mean, the girl who gave my daughter $300, she deserved to have that refunded back.
It's great, and she made the best decision. Everything was fair.
It was ridiculous, and I only found out about it about a week prior to this happening, that she was even there without him. It was ridiculous.
Why didn't you go get her?
I had no idea you weren't there.
ridiculous.
I was planning on moving in the following weekend, but that day she told me she got evicted.
And it was $2,600, so that's 5 months of rent that he didn't pay. It's not like he just didn't pay one rent month.
As far as Judge Judy, of course, as usual, she always makes the right decision.
Today, it kind of seems like the whole story went together, that it was a scam because she was trying to get me to move in as soon as possible by the end of the month, and then she got evicted, so it makes sense.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Raines versus Burton. Step forward.
19-year-old Aaron Raines is suing her family friend's cousin, 20-year-old Charles Lydell Burton, for stealing her iPad.
Miss Raines, you know the defendant through a relative of yours, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you come thirsty so soon?
No. Relax.
What relative?
My godmother.
It is your claim that Mr. Burton stole property that belonged to you, an iPad that was at your home?
Yes, ma'am.
When do you claim that he stole this thing?
September 29th, it was a Sunday.
Let me hear.
Okay, so I was at work that day, and I came home from work, and I realized that my iPad was missing. I normally have it with me all the time. I'm a student. I have my books on it. I also run a mentorship program. I need it a lot, so...
I don't need all that. You didn't have your iPad
so I came
with
home,
you.
and it was missing. So I immediately asked my friend Sierra, who me, if she had seen my iPad. Yes, ma'am. Asked her if she had seen it. She said she saw it on my bed earlier and told me that Lydell had been over my house that day. I had heard things from Lydell's family members that...
Listen to me. Don't tell me what you heard from your family members. You're the roommate?
Yes.
And this young man was over earlier in the day?
Yes.
Fine. And you told her that he was over earlier in the day?
Yes.
You didn't see him take anything, did you?
No.
And you didn't see him take anything?
No, ma'am.
Great. So, keep going.
So I immediately call him. I'll ask Sierra if she has his number. She says yes. So she has his number. She had met him previously before. I had never personally met him. And so I call him, leave him a voicemail, just letting him know, I know you were over my house. My iPad is missing. If you bring it back to me, I won't call the police and press charges. We can put this whole thing behind us. He doesn't respond to me until the next day when I'm at work. I get a text message from him from the same number, and he is pretending to be another friend, saying that Lydell doesn't know anything about this. He has nothing to do with this.
Just a second. Just a second.
I never texted her.
Let me see it.
Sure. These are the first set of messages when he was pretending to be a friend, and then
Don't tell me he was pretending to be a friend. You have no idea whether he was pretending to be a friend or not.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And during that time period, I did not have no type my cell phone on me at all.
Do I look like I'm talking to you?
I'm just trying to
Do I
let
look
you
like
know.
I'm talking to you?
I'm just trying
I'm
to
reading.
like, but I'm just trying to let you know.
I don't.
Okay.
What part of I'm not talking to you? Don't you understand?
All right, I hear you.
What else?
And so eventually he stops this whole, this is his friend, and he starts, saying that it's him.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't know who it is that was texting you, correct?
Yes. But I also spoke with him on the phone.
That's all I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me about the conversation then. So now we have a missing iPad.
Yes, ma'am.
We have no proof that he took it. No one saw him take it. So now you're going to tell me about a conversation you had with him sometime after September 29.
Yes, ma'am. So I have a phone conversation with him where...
Who called whom?
I called him and he called me. We had several
Back.
encounters because I was working, so it was sort of a back and forth thing. And we came to the agreement that I was not going to press charges.
No. I came to the agreement. I want you to tell me what you said to him and what he said to you.
I said to him that I know you were at my house. My iPad is missing. If you bring it back to me, I'm not going to press charges on you. I need it. He told me that he took it to the store with him and he dropped it and he broke the screen and he was going to go get it fixed. I didn't believe that, but I told...
Okay. Now, that was in a conversation that you had with him on the telephone.
Yes, and I also have messages.
On what date?
It was a few days after. I called the police that following Sunday, so I gave him about a week.
Did he tell you what store he took it to?
No.
And what did you say to him?
I told him that I didn't believe that, but I really just needed it back, and that if he just sold it to someone or he took it somewhere just to tell me where, we would figure out how to get it because I really wanted mine back. And so then he said that he was going to give me money for it. I didn't know where he got this money from, so I didn't want that at all. And so he said that he was just going to buy a new one and replace it. So we made several times we were supposed to meet. He took pictures of iPads that he was supposedly purchasing and sent them to me.
Can I see that?
Yes, ma'am. The pictures are at the end.
Okay, Mr. Burton. Have you had the same cell phone for the last 2 years?
No.
Had a number for the last 2 years?
No.
Have you had the same cell phone for the last 6 months?
No.
When did you get a new cell phone?
September.
September what?
Like the 4th or the 5th. I'm not too sure.
Do you have this cell phone with you?
Yes.
Take it out. What is the cell phone number?
929 05.
Uncross your hands. I want you to tell me why I should have any question regarding the conversation that Miss Raines just testified to that she had with you. Subsequent, that means after, her iPad was taken.
I did not have my phone after that matter because I did go to a get-together. She did not get in contact with me. So therefore, when I had got my phone and received my phone, which was a couple days later, what I say 5 days later because I couldn't get in contact with who had my phone, when I got my phone back, I have all these text messages from family members talking about giving you an iPad back.
So is what you're telling me that you never spoke to her?
I never spoke to her after I got my phone.
Listen to me. I didn't ask you about texts. I said, is what you're telling me that you never spoke to her?
I spoke to her one time after I got my phone.
Just a second. You spoke to her one time?
Yes.
And when you spoke to her that one time, I would like you to tell me what the conversation was.
When I spoke to her, she referred to me as in, oh, well, you was at my house, you had my iPad. I said, no, I never touched no iPad. That's really the conversation.
What were you doing at her house?
I went to the house to go see my aunt, where she was where she resided in.
Well, she didn't live there anymore, did she?
I did not know that. So when
you went to the house and you found that your aunt wasn't there anymore, what did you go inside for?
Because my cousin still lived there, so I went to visit her.
Who's your cousin?
Nikki.
Who's Nikki?
My cousin.
Was she there?
Yes.
What's her name?
Sierra.
Was she there?
Yes. And I was using Sierra's iPad during the day that I was there, and I left, and her iPad was still there.
You know something, Mr. Burton? It's my job to be able to make a decision and make a judgment whether somebody is telling me the truth or someone is telling me not the truth. And I choose to believe in this case everything that she says to me and everything that my eyes tell me and nothing of what you tell me. Now, it may be that I was wrong. I was born in 1942. I was wrong once in 1944 and I got a licking for it. I haven't been wrong since. So I'll take my chances. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $576. That's all. Thank you.
Step up.
I am definitely happy that she decided the way that she did, and I'm just happy I can put it all behind me and focus on my mentorship program in school.
I just don't understand, like, why would you take it to that manner and you not know who did it?
He was using my iPad while he was there, but he was the only person that I allowed in the house, and I was there all day, and the iPad was missing, and I didn't take it. My godmother didn't take it.
I don't really know too much about Lydell. All I know is what I've heard about him and not so great things. He's had a lot of past run-ins with the law, but hopefully he's learned his lesson and he's going to clean up.
He's a good person. He's my friend. We live close in the same neighborhood. I've had no problems. He's never stolen from me, or else I wouldn't be here.
Bygones could be bygones, and at the end of the day, I just feel like it's a lesson learned.
The lesson of this case, I would definitely say, is keep your things with you all the time, even if they're dead.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Meyer versus Williams. Step forward.
John Meyer is suing his niece, Tammy Williams, for the cost to replace his truck. John says Tammy got drunk and loaned the vehicle to her mother, who was also drunk. Tammy's mom proceeded to roll the truck and total it.
Mr. Meyer, Miss Williams is your niece?
Yes, ma'am.
She is the daughter of your sister.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is your sister here?
Yes, she is.
That would be you.
Yes, ma'am.
Your lawsuit is marginally confusing to me, sir.
Absolutely, I agree.
Well, if you agree, then why didn't you fix it before you filed it?
I'm not, really good with memory and stuff, but...
This has nothing to do with memory.
Okay.
This has to do with common sense.
I'm going for the person that took responsibility for my vehicle under the 3 things that I had told her, and she went against every one of them.
Now that my entire 10 million viewing audience is confused, I will try to make it clear to them. You loaned Miss Williams your truck.
Yes, ma'am.
She was going to use your truck for whatever reason. She was going to use it for a period of time. And Miss Williams went out drinking with her mother. Miss Williams got loaded.
Yeah.
So did her mother, your sister. Miss Williams didn't drive home in the truck. Your sister has the keys, and she drives home in your truck. What happens to your truck?
It gets rolled?
It got rolled.
Yes, ma'am.
And destroyed.
Yes, ma'am.
While being driven by your drunk sister.
The 3 things...
Not 3 facts.
Yes,
while
ma'am.
being driven by your drunk
Yeah.
sister, who got a DUI, right?
Yeah.
And you're not suing your sister, who took the keys and drove drunk and totaled your car. You're suing your niece, who got drunk and wouldn't drive the car. Do you understand my confusion?
I understand.
Even Bird is confused.
Sorry, Bird. The bottom line is when the truck was loaned to Tammy, I loaned it to her under 3 rules. Three little things. Do not drive my truck drunk. Do not drive my truck to a bar. And no one else drives my truck. Okay, so I'm just, I'm a bit confused too if she's my niece and, I expected her to follow these 3 simple things. And she's telling me I'll take full responsibility for anything that happens to your truck. Okay? She put it on her shoulders.
Sue your sister. Sister drove drunk? How old are you?
35.
How old's your mother?
56, I think.
20 years older.
I'm 52.
52. I suggest both of you stop drinking.
I already have.
Your case is dismissed. That's all. Go sue your sister.
What is your excuse when you step out?
Tammy shouldn't have handed me the keys at the bar and said, "Here, Mom, don't let me drive," before we ever entered the bar.
I wasn't driving, and I am not responsible for what happened to the truck.
She should have took responsibility when she took the truck from my brother.
He said that it was not drinking and driving, not taking the truck to the bar, not letting anybody drive it.
Is these rules I laid down for loaning this pickup, the lies that just came out of that young lady's mouth.
I went to the bar one time, the night that my mom rolled the truck.
I got a call from her, upset. I know what I did wrong, and I'm responsible for it.
I drank too much and passed out, and I don't know what happened after that until the truck was rolled.
Okay, show me you can be responsible.
He told me that I wasn't responsible numerous times, and then he said that my mom was going to have to pay for it.
As far as her, and I don't care the rest of them.
There is no family relation, so it doesn't matter.
I'm done with them. I'm washing my hands.
A tenant of yours who you claim damaged your property to an extent that it exceeded any security deposit that you had, and you want money. Ms. Trevino denies that. She's got a counterclaim, which is sort of foolish. She said that she actually enhanced your property, and she wants to be compensated for whatever she did to enhance the property. So I'm telling you, with regard to your counterclaim, unless you had a contract with the plaintiff that provided that if you enhanced her property, put in carpeting, put in shower rods, all these things that you say you did put in when you were there, then you do not have a claim against her for the improvements that you made to her property while you were living there for your own comfort. Do you understand? I'm asking if you understand.
Yeah, I don't agree, but I understand, yes.
Well, you don't have a lawsuit because tenants very often enhance the property that they're living in if the property looks as if it needs painting, and the landlord isn't going to paint because it's not the right time. Landlord will give permission if the tenant wants to paint at their own cost, but tenant isn't entitled to be reimbursed for that. Now, do you understand? You didn't have an agreement with her because I read your papers carefully. Okay. Now, how long was Miss Trevino your tenant?
You know, normally my tenants stay anywhere from a year.
Listen to me very carefully. I have lots of things to do.
Okay.
And I like the Reader's Digest version of everything. This is not one of those shows that goes on forever. Now, when was she your tenant?
She was only there 4 months.
When did she move in?
She moved in August 1st.
Did she have a month-to-month lease? What was her rent?
Was $15.95.
When she moved in, how much money did she give you?
She gave me a 1-month security deposit and her first month's rent.
I apologize, but my rent was not $15.95. My rent was $15.50.
$15.50?
Yes, not $15.95. I have the rental contract that shows that. I have my copy and Letty's original that she never took with her. There's both.
You never gave me a copy?
Don't speak to her.
Your Honor, I have a signed copy that's $15.95, so if we did change it, she never gave me...
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Who filled out this agreement?
It was Letty and I. We were standing side by side.
Who wrote it out?
Letty.
She did?
Yes.
Bird, would you do me a favor, please? Sure. Would you please have the plaintiff write on here her name? I want it printed, and the word dishwasher, and I want you to do it quickly. Your name printed and the word dishwasher. And then I want you to write the word Gabby. Print. Now I'll take a look at it. Thank you. Who wrote this?
Can you see it again?
You can see it 3 times.
Your Honor, I'm not.
That's what you wrote.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what you wrote. Thank you. Now I'll take it back. So that's your handwritten. It says 1550.
Yeah,
it's your initials.
I have no problem with that. That's okay.
Well, I'm very glad that you have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is this thing that you gave me. That's what I have a problem with. We understanding each other now, Ms. Cuevas?
Yes.
Perfect. So now we know that your rent is $1,550, not $15.95. Got to have a good memory when you make up evidence. Okay, so she lived in your premises for 4 months on the month-to-month lease, and the rent was $1,550 a month. She gave you the first month's rent and a month's security deposit. The month's security deposit was to go towards any damages. She moved in August 1st, so she paid you for August. In what month did she move out?
Your Honor, she didn't give me a 30-day notice.
In what month did she move out?
In December.
January, Your Honor.
January what?
January 6th. It was a Sunday. Okay. January 6th.
August's rent she paid. September's rent she paid. October's rent she paid. November's rent she paid. Did she pay December's rent?
She did.
December's rent she paid. So right now she's there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. And she's paid you for 5 months' rent. Did you move in on August 1st?
Yes, I did.
And you moved out January 6th?
Yes.
Then you are responsible for January's rent, right?
Well, she prorated me, so I didn't think I was responsible for it.
Your Honor.
Just a second. Show me that she prorated your rent. Not that you gave her a prorated rent, but show me that...
No, she gave me a prorated amount, so
I'd like to take
assumed...
a look at it.
It's right here for this. She has 7 days. It was 6 days.
Your Honor, the contract says she has to give a 30-day notice.
Yes, you are required to give a 30-day notice of your intention to leave the premises, which you did not do. So she's entitled to keep a month's rent. That's what she's entitled to do because you didn't give her a month's notice. So she had the $1,550 that you gave her as a security deposit. That she kept. Now, what she's suing for, then, I assume, are damages that are in excess of any other money. Let me see what damages you claim the defendant did to the property. So I would like you to show me photographs when she moved in and when she moved out.
Your Honor, I'd like to bring up my husband. He's the one that remodeled the property
listen to me. I want to see photographs.
There's a before and here's after.
Show the beginning house.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
I want to see photographs of the day
before. Here's after.
When she moved in. Would you show these to Ms. Trevino and ask if this is what the premises looked like when she moved in?
No, Your Honor, this is what the premises looked like when I moved out. And how do I know this? Because when I moved in, this had been painted. When I left, I had used it all that winter, and I tried scrubbing this fireplace, and this was what I left. And after, this is not before. This is the condition, Honor.
Just a second.
This is the condition, Honor, that I left it in, that my daughter and I spent her birthday
Just a second. I'm just asking you, those photographs are not dated. So all I'm asking you is this what the premises looked like when you moved in?
No.
No. Okay.
Not true.
And these are not dated photographs. They're just copies of something.
That's why I brought the witness, Your Honor, too. He's the one that did all the work.
I don't. Listen to me.
Okay.
This is your husband?
Yes, he's a contractor.
Who prepared this piece of false evidence?
I did. What?
Yeah. You. That would be you.
I didn't prepare anything of false evidence.
Yes,
if
you did.
anything, I changed it, maybe lowered it.
To help her.
To help her. Yes.
No, this is more, not less. This is more.
I don't know. I'm saying we might have done that first and then changed it to the 1550. She was actually a family friend, recommended, believe it or not.
We gave her a break. It was. We originally started high and dropped it.
I don't falsify anything. That's ridiculous.
Let me ask you this question. How much rent did she pay you? She's got the receipt. How much rent did she pay you in November?
No,
Look here.
It is $15.50.
Well,
but...
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, Eddie Cuevas says former tenant Roxanne Trevino damaged her home and moved out owing rent. Roxanne is countersuing for improvements she made to Letty's home.
Now, I don't know what these are pictures of.
Those are pictures of damage. You know, she had her granddaughter living there. That's paint on stucco. That property was completely remodeled. I mean, I want to see the photographs on the day she moved in. Those are the photographs that I have.
Yeah, well, that's not my question to you. My question to you is, I want to see the photographs of the day she moved in. Now, if you don't have those photographs, then say, I don't have them. But don't pass them off and say, this is what I have.
I didn't take any.
Well,
the day she moved
let me tell
in,
you,
was
Ms.
not
Cuevas. Let me tell
like
you
that.
what. Let me tell you why I don't feel sorry for you at all, Ms. Cuevas. I don't feel sorry for you at all because she stayed there for 6 days, and because she didn't give you 30 days notice, and I assume she did tell you around Christmas time that she had to move because she couldn't afford it. You actually got an extra $1,550.
Not
because
extra.
Because that's what rent. Now, what you're suing her for damages are $961.
No, Your Honor, I'm asking for very little. I'm only asking for $575 of damages. That's why I brought Larry Batance, because I didn't pay for labor. That's just bare minimum, Your Honor. I didn't even put all the damages.
Ms. Cuevas, I actually don't. I'm not buying what you're telling me. I'm not buying what you're telling me. What else?
I have here, Your Honor, this is what she sent me of the original damages initially. She contacted me through text and said, I need your forwarding address so that I can forward you your security deposit.
May I see that
and
text?
when she did, this is what she sent me.
I see
I said, I'm going to send you your...
Oh, no, I don't have that. I don't have it.
I was telling her I'm going to send her your security deposit itemization, Your Honor, which is what you have to send.
I want you to all go have
deposit.
a very happy holiday. You got $1,500 from her, and if your husband is going to take care of the labor very, very cheaply, that's very, very good. Next time, if you're going to rent property, take dated pictures of it the day the tenant moves in and the day the tenant moves out. Now, just for my own information, when you moved in, did you put down new carpeting?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you re-rent the house?
I did, but...
Just answer the questions. Did you re-rent the house?
Eventually, yes.
Same month.
When is eventually?
Well, within about a month.
Not
but
even
Your
a
Honor,
month.
Your Honor, she changed the carpet because she wanted to.
It was old and dirty, Your Honor. She did not want to change
I
it.
must tell you something. You have no sympathy from me. And I usually am very sympathetic towards landlords. Very. Not to you. You got your money from these people.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I just disputed the fact that there was so much damage.
It was little kids' hands on there.
You can clearly see on the pictures there, they speak for themselves, that they were not handprints.
And in the bedroom there's a hole this big. They put a flat screen TV.
In the bedroom, there were damages from the television, holes.
You know, it was just sad.
But that was it. Not 900, not 1550 worth of damage.
To go back in there, it's heartbreaking, to be honest.
I'm in property management myself, so I know.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Stokes versus Wilson. Step forward.
20-year-old Alexis Stokes is suing her former roommate, 20-year-old Caitlin Wilson, for breaking their lease. Caitlin says Alexis moved a male roommate into the apartment without her permission.
When did you two ladies sign a lease?
We signed it in actually August, beginning of August.
Give me the date.
I couldn't give the exact date. I believe it was August.
Do you have the lease with you?
I do have the lease, actually.
Well, then just take a look at it and try to tell me the date on which you signed the lease. There should be a date on the lease.
This lease, because we signed it electronically, it doesn't have an exact date. Because beginningly, I started it in March with my brother. August, we signed my brother off and we signed her on. I have the exact date that we signed off the lease, but we don't have the date that she signed on.
Your Honor, we signed the lease on August 2nd.
Okay. And you had lived in this apartment before with your brother? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes,
You left that out of your complaint. How long had you lived in the apartment with your brother?
With my brother from March till August. No, sorry, March till June. And then my brother decided to just take off and leave with me. And then after that, I just decided
Your brother decided to take off and leave?
Yeah, he just went...
Not with you?
No, not with me. He left on me. He went to a new place somewhere else, so I decided to get new people. Like, I had my cousin live with me for a month because she was going to start college, and then she decided that she got in trouble. She got in a car accident, yada, yada, but then I signed the lease to end it in August. We were going to end it in August, and we signed Caitlin on instead.
When did you move in?
I moved in on August 3rd, Your Honor.
When did you move out?
I moved out on October 11th, I believe.
Without notice.
Did you just say something to me? Don't do it again.
Sorry.
Now, you moved out on August 11th.
Yes, we signed the lease break on October 2nd.
Just a second.
Okay.
You moved in on August 3rd. Were you obligated to pay rent under the lease?
Not for August, but for September, yes.
In September,
I didn't ask you anything.
Sorry, Your Honor.
For September, you were obligated to pay rent. And what was your rent for September?
It was $500, and I have the bank receipt with me.
May I see it, please? And Bird, while you're there, may I see the lease that the plaintiff has?
It's right there with a little mark on it.
Bank statement. Little mark there.
This is a contract that starts in December of 2012 and ends March 2014.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I signed it with my brother in December. I thought it was March. It ended in March, though. So we signed with my brother. We began it in December, and it lasted until next March.
You know something. You have people move in, you have people move out. Your brother left you, you had somebody else move in. I want you to tell me what you think she owes you. For what month's rent?
I think she owes me...
No, just tell me. What month's rent? Give me the month.
She owes me for October, November, and December.
Was she there in November?
Yeah, she was there probably until the mid-November.
When did you move out?
I moved out October 3rd, Your Honor. I have a lease for a new apartment that I'm on that we did sign. So I was not there in the middle of October.
We were on that lease, so by the...
I don't care. I asked you, just... She did not live there in November, is my question.
She lived there halfway through November. Can I say something?
Okay, when did you move out?
I moved out December 2nd. That's when the lease was terminated. We terminated the lease October 2nd, so it was 60 days that you had to live there and pay the rent and pay $500
You should have gone to your brother. Listen, she lived there until October, not November. She paid you October's rent, $500.
She did not pay me October's rent. She paid me September's rent, which was $500. October, she did not pay me. She paid me $220, but we agreed that she paid me $350 plus half of electric.
Your Honor, you're too young to live alone.
I am, but I do not have parents who support me at all.
You're too young to live alone. You're too young to sign a contract.
I don't have anybody to support me, Your Honor.
Well, where are you living now?
I am living on my own in a one-bedroom right now.
And you work?
And I work 2 jobs.
Perfect.
I work 2 jobs and I go to school and I have nobody to support me.
Perfect.
Because I do not trust anybody else. And I learned from this. This is a mistake.
Great. Your brother left you.
Yes.
You had a cousin who was coming in to go to school. That person left?
Yes, but she was still in high school. So my uncle, she got in a car wreck, so my uncle made her move back home. She was not on the lease at all.
I don't care.
I believe who is legally on the lease should legally have to pay.
Your Honor, I don't owe her for electric because I have a text where she wanted him to move in as a squatter, not on the lease.
Okay. Him, I assume, is the one who was sleeping on the floor?
Yes. With 16-year-old minors sleeping with him on the floor.
Just a second. The one who was sleeping on the floor?
Yes.
Okay, the one that you acknowledge was sleeping on the floor?
Yes, that was our agreement, that he moved in, paid $250, because our rent total was $950. I paid $350, she paid $350. He paid $250 because he didn't have a bedroom. He was just helping us out. It was her idea, and she introduced me to him.
We're done here.
Step out.
I'm happy with it. I mean, she obviously made herself look stupid up there, so...
I do not even know what the decision is, so I'm highly concerned to figure out what it is.
We were best friends. She was one person I thought I could go to for everything for the rest of my life. We were friends since 1st grade.
Not really an argument. She felt like she was left out in our friendship.
The fact that I thought she was going to be there for me for the rest of my life.
But she was highly joined in it. She just didn't want to hang out with us.
I mean, to this day still, I would... Not, we would never be as close, but I'm willing to shake hands and get over it.
With the defendant, I don't even care right now. If she can be that immature about things, then I have other friends I can hang out with.
It's hard. I mean, my current roommates now are my friends, and I love my life. We have great times. We have great laughs. We get along. I love it.
I live by myself now. I don't trust anybody.
Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Miller, this case is about your claim that the defendant was your girlfriend, you have a child together, owes you for a car loan.
Yes, ma'am.
You lived together for a period of time.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you live together?
Well, the last period was from May of 2012 to August of 2012.
And when was your child born?
April of 2010.
Were you living together then?
Yes, we were.
From when to when?
At that period, it was from March of 2010 until January of 2011.
In whose home were you living from May of 2012 until August of 2012?
My apartment, ma'am.
And where had the defendant been living prior to that?
With her mother, Miss Sandra Williams, who's seated right here.
So at the time this vehicle was purchased, the two of you were living together?
Correct.
And in May of 2012, you were unemployed?
Correct.
In June of 2012, you were unemployed?
That's correct.
In July of 2012, you were unemployed?
Yes, ma'am.
In August of 2012, you were unemployed?
Yes.
From the time your son was born, had you been employed?
No, ma'am.
From the time your son was born, were you in touch with the plaintiff?
Yes.
Did he regularly see his son?
Yes, he did.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So let me just fully understand and appreciate this, Mr. Miller, because I'm not unsympathetic with you.
Mm-hmm.
From April of 2010 until August of 2012, you were in regular contact with the defendant. Stand still. You saw your son. You knew she was unemployed, being supported and living with her mother. Then she came to live with you, being supported by you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was during this time, in the summer of 2012, that you claim you made a $4,000 loan to her to buy a car.
Correct.
Now, there is no question, and the plaintiff does not deny, that in fact you purchased a car and put it in her name because she had no car to drive around herself. Her car broke down, and you purchased a car. Now, Mr. Miller, where'd you think she was going to get the money from to pay you back?
There was an agreement that she was going to get a job.
I offered to loan her $4,000 to purchase a 2003 Ford Explorer. She swore to me up and down she would pay me back over the next few months. Since we were living together and start a family, I had no reason not to take her at her word. Let me tell you, I'm going to give you 36 months of reasons that you shouldn't have taken her at her word. Because she was unemployed since 2010. You didn't see her work, period, ever. From the time you were together. Now she has a baby. She's living with you. She's not working. And you're telling me that in your brain, you said over the next few months, she's going to have enough money not only to take care of herself, but to pay me back $4,000. What do you think she was going to do over the next few months in order to pay you back $4,000, which means after taxes she had to earn about $8,000. Where do you live?
In Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts. Probably has to earn $9,000 if I know the state of Massachusetts in order to clear $4,000. Where did you think she was going to earn that over the next few months?
Well, I wasn't expecting the whole lump sum within 3 months. I was expecting her to at least see her get a job within the next 3 months and have
I
the
don't
loan
know
start
what
from there, Your
prompted
Honor.
you, sir, to even think that. Based upon her history, I would not have thought that. She was living with her mother since the child was born. You're her mother?
Yes, I am.
Do you work?
Yes, I do.
Full-time?
2 jobs.
Oh, well, you know what? I would work 1 job, make her get a job.
She has one now.
Great! So I wouldn't work 2 jobs while my kids stayed home and did nothing. Now you have some idea where I'm coming from.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I know you bought the car. I know why you bought the car. I believe you that she didn't have a functioning car. Car was put in her name. Go, Mr. Miller. You got to convince me.
Like I said, the car was purchased in July. In August, 4 weeks later, Miss Williams decided to be unfaithful in the relationship, so I had to have her leave the house. After she did that, she took off with my son for a 4 to 6 week period when I had no contact with her. She wouldn't answer emails, text messages, phone calls. So the only way that we had any contact with the family was my mother ended up emailing her mother. I have those emails right here, and I couldn't get a hold of her, so basically her mother was the spokesman for the family and for her, and that's the only way that I had any contact with what was going on with my son.
Okay, now, why did you cut Mr. Miller off from his child?
That's not true. I didn't do that.
Tell me what happened.
I didn't want to deal with the rudeness of him, so I decided to keep the conversations only to what pertained to our son.
Well, what arrangements did you make when you left for him to see his child?
Just whatever was in place before.
Which was?
Every Tuesday night and every other weekend.
Did he see the child every other weekend?
Yes, he did.
Even after you left?
Yes.
That's not true, Your Honor. It was between 4 and 6 weeks where I had no contact with my son whatsoever.
I actually believe him.
That's absolutely not true.
Now I'm going to look at the emails.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe they need some light on it.
These are from my mother.
No. Just pan them up. On what date did you leave?
Around August 20th.
It was August 18th, Your Honor.
Did you leave in the morning, afternoon, or evening?
In the morning. I went to New Hampshire that weekend with my family.
And you didn't come back?
No, he locked me out. He changed the locks.
I told her she wasn't allowed to live there anymore. Not after somebody doing something like that to myself.
Well, your mother said now that she's going to work, is she willing to assist with the loan payments when she becomes employed? Wouldn't we all like a free car? So that belies the fact that there was an agreement that she was going to pay you back. And then Miss Williams' mother answers, it was greatly appreciated that Rob bought her a car. And if he would like $10 a week to pay him back for it, just say the word and I'll see what we can work out. So even that response belies the fact that you had a prior agreement, a contract with her to pay you back for the car. The next email, the response is, this even says from your mother. It doesn't say that you thought she was going to get a job. This says, Stephanie stated she would put the lump sum payment she got from DOR. What's DOR?
Department of Revenue.
What is that?
So I had my own business, and for a short period, it wasn't doing so well. So I got backed up on my child support, about $800. I ended up depositing that into the Department of Revenue, and it took about 2 to 3 months for Miss Williams to actually receive it. In that period of time, we got back together, and that $800 was hanging above our heads, right? So when the truck was purchased, she had promised me that she would take that $800 and give it back to me towards payment of the truck.
Well, you didn't tell me that. Did you tell him that?
No, I didn't.
Did you get the $800?
I did. I owed my mother money, so I gave it to my mom.
Oh, no, can't do that. Sorry. Sorry.
I never said that I was going to give him money.
Sorry.
For it.
Sorry, you gave your mother his $800?
No, that was my child support that he was backed up on.
$800. So far, you got $800. It's getting to look better for you. It's getting to look better for him. You got a car, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And while
you got a car, right? A $4,000 car. You got a $4,000 car that's so far costing you $800. I would say, thank you, God. You're very wise. Now, Mr. Miller, pay child support?
Yes, ma'am.
How much?
$150 a week. And may I just add that while Miss Williams was living with me, she was still collecting her child support. So I was supporting her and my child, plus she was receiving her DOR payments, which is how child support is paid in Massachusetts.
Just a second. Were you getting welfare?
No. He had to pay through the state because he wouldn't pay
You
me
were
on
living
time.
with him?
For just a couple of months.
You're some piece of work.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Robert Miller says the mother of his child, Stephanie Williams, owes for a loan to buy a car and to register it.
Did you sell your old car?
I got $375 for it.
The answer is yes.
Yes, I did.
And you got how much?
$375.
What'd you do with it?
I don't remember.
Did you sell it at approximately the same time as you got this car?
Yes.
$375.
He told me that he didn't want me in that car anymore because I was going to fix that car.
I think that's great. I believe you. I believe you that he said, I don't want you in this car anymore. Let me tell you what a normal, nice person does, who is being supported by somebody who was a stranger to her. Stranger, not your mother, not your father, not a sister, not a brother, a stranger. Made a baby with him. He's still a legal stranger to you. Maybe the father of your child, you're the mother of his child, but you're a stranger to him. And he said to you, come, live with me, I'll support you. And you have this beat-up old car, I want you to drive in a safe car. That's what you were going to tell me. Okay? Would seem to me that somebody who had a moral compass would say, when I get the child support check, I will give it to you. And when I sell the car, the old piece of junk, I will also give you the money for that because I'm not paying for my food. I'm not paying for my electricity.
He didn't want me to work.
What do you mean he doesn't want? How old are you?
offered to get
How
him.
old are you?
I'm 31 years old, but I was a stay-at-home mother.
Let me tell you something. That's a mutual decision. You also didn't work at your mother's house.
I did work until I was 8 months pregnant.
You didn't work from 2010. Your mother got 2 jobs in order to support you and your kid. You owe him $1,175. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's controlling. He tells me what I can and can't wear.
There's no controlling going on.
Tells me who I can hang out with and who I can't. Goes through my Facebook, goes through my phone.
She has a low standard of friends that she hangs out with, and that's the only thing I tried to keep her away, for her and my son's sake.
I would like him to just be a good dad, and like he is, and I want him to stop harassing me.
I hope that we can get along for the sake of my child, and that's about it.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Miladinovich versus Qatar. Step forward.
Emma Ray Miladinovich is suing her former live-in boyfriend, Robert Qatar, for money owed for bills and for purposely destroying her property. Robert is countersuing Ray stole his property.
This is a year-old complaint. The two of you lived together for a period of time, according to what I read in your complaint and your answer. You claim a whole bunch of damage that he did to property of yours that it looks as if you kept, unless that's junk that you just brought here for some reason that I'm unaware of. He says that you did the damage yourself. He doesn't know what you're talking about. And he says you kept some of his property, including his dog. Let's get to the dog first. Okay. You've been without the dog now almost a year, right?
Yes.
Did you miss the dog?
Yes, I miss the dog terribly.
So what prevented you from suing for the return of the dog a year ago?
I thought at one point she was going to be, right about it and give me my dog back.
Well, but after a week or two, you realized that that wasn't going to happen.
Well, at first she was letting me see him. I got to see him on a visitation thing a couple times, and then she changed her mind, wanted to keep the dog.
Oh, really? So you got to see him on visitation?
About 3 times.
3 times after you had this altercation. So you let him visit with the dog?
A couple times.
There's something about this case that bothers me a lot. A whole bunch. Let me tell you what bothers me a whole bunch. When you say to me that he caused extensive damage to your property over a year ago, and then you let him come to see the dog, and a year later you decide to sue him for $5,000, something doesn't sit right with me. Do you understand? Wouldn't sit right with any normal person. So I'm asking him the question. You didn't miss the dog for the first little bit. Then you got visitation for a couple of weeks. So I want you to do this for me. Forget about the dog. So your counterclaim is now done.
And why should she
Done.
get my dog?
Done.
Why
Because
should-
you didn't come to court fast enough. That's the reason. You didn't come to court fast enough. Because if you treat your dog, some people treat their animals, and you say you love this dog, and it was a gift from your daughter. I have 2 dogs. If somebody took my dog, I wouldn't wait a year
I did
to
wait
get
a
him
year.
back.
Every time I went to the
didn't-
house, she called the police on me. 16
Just a
times.
sec. You just came to court, sir. Sir, you just came to court. You
Were
did.
you asking why I wasn't going to see the dog?
You did what you could have done a year ago, which is go to small claims court, take out a summons, and say, you have my property, I want it back. The fact that you did it a year later suggests to me that despite the fact that you called the police on you frequently, you still knew how to get to the courthouse. You did, in fact, file a counterclaim, didn't you?
Yes.
Well, that's great. It's a counterclaim that I'm dismissing. Now I'm going to get to your claim, which I will dismiss in short order. Where have you been for the last year? And this junk, where has this junk been for the last year?
I've had it waiting to
Well,
go to
you've
court.
waited for what?
We started going to court in Van Nuys at the courthouse there, and they kept putting the court date off because I was getting a restraining order.
Well, show me when you started to go to the courthouse in Van Nuys and then was getting restraining orders. Show me.
Okay, you want to see the restraining order?
No, I want to see when you first went to court to sue him for this
We first
problem.
went to court November the 5th. He actually was suing me.
For my dog.
Really? And what happened with that case?
They gave everything I owned to her. She got everything I owned and had
Just
to pay
a second.
$1,000.
That was it. So you had that case adjudicated.
No, it still was going.
It can't be still going since November, sir.
She
of
put the
2000
small claims case
of
off 6
2012.
times.
What?
She put the small claim case off 6 times.
No, you just told me that they gave her back all the property.
Right? And then she appealed that.
Just a second. Then that's what you do. You go back to your appeal. You've already adjudicated this case and lost.
No, I didn't present I didn't file a counterclaim, Judge Judy.
I didn't ask him. Who's appealing?
That is not even...
Goodbye! Listen to me very carefully. If somebody is appealing, that means this case was adjudicated. That means that... What are you looking at me quizzically for? Case was adjudicated. It's done. And if you choose to appeal it, appeal it. I'm not an appellate court. I'm a court of original jurisdiction. And you've already had your day in court.
Excuse me, step out.
She called the police 16 times on me for being on the street. And they, not once did I go to jail. What does that tell you?
I'm kind of in shock, actually.
We had fought, and if anything, she's more aggressive than I am.
That's not true. He's abusive and he knows it.
Run and get out as fast as you can.
Whatever. I'm done.
You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Ms. Kroback, this used to be your boyfriend. He's not your boyfriend anymore. You're complaining about 2 things. One, about a loan that you made to him, allegedly, to get his tooth fixed. Had your tooth knocked out? Was it a front tooth?
Yes.
When was that?
A couple months, like a month.
What?
Couple months.
Couple of months what?
When it got knocked out, I was at a
Couple
bar.
of months ago?
Yes.
Give me a month.
Like,
It's actually
say, April?
April of this year? Listen to me carefully. Don't look confused. Just tell the truth, and you don't have to have a good memory. Do you understand?
Yes.
Very good. How many teeth have you had knocked out?
1.
So if I had a tooth knocked out, I would actually remember when that happened. Give me the month.
Like a month ago, so...
A month ago, which would be May of 2013.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's start from there. And when you had the tooth knocked out in May of 2013, what did you do?
I went to the dentist.
And?
I made an appointment.
And?
And I had it replaced.
And?
And I asked Nicole for money.
And?
She loaned me the money.
Great. And how much did she loan you?
$350.
Did you pay her back?
No, I didn't.
Great. I love the ease of this case. $350. Easy. That's $350. Now, the next part of your complaint is you say, Ms. Kroback, you say that he bit you after some sort of argument. And that occurred when?
April of 2013.
April of 2013. So that happened before his tooth got knocked out.
Yes.
See how I love it? My life becomes so easy. So You had an argument, and during the course of that argument, he bit you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to tell me what you did to him. But then you made up. Then you made up.
I didn't forgive him.
I didn't ask you whether you forgave him. Did you sleep with him?
We stayed on speaking terms.
Did you sleep with him?
After that?
After he bit you, but before he came to you and you gave him money to have his tooth fixed.
Maybe
Did
once.
you?
Yeah.
Maybe once. All right, would you give me in 30 seconds or less? I'll take care of this bite.
Okay. The reason we stayed on speaking terms was...
Don't tell me you stayed on speaking terms. I don't believe that.
Yes,
I
we
believe
did.
that you stayed on heavy-duty speaking terms.
Not directly after it. He owed me the money. He owed me $1,000 from a surcharge that I paid for him. I believe...
That's over. Listen to me. He owes you $350 for the tooth in May. Now we're talking about April. This is going back in time.
The reason we stayed on speaking terms was
I believe I was pregnant. I didn't ask you why you stayed on speaking terms. I asked you about the bite.
Yes. We got in an argument at the bar.
At a bar?
Yes. He decided to stay at the bar. I was going to leave. I was very upset that he wasn't leaving with me because we were fighting over him dancing. He decided to stay. I got in my car to leave. I saw him walking towards the highway as if he was going to walk home. So I was about to pull my car out to leave and go home myself, and he started walking back towards the car. I thought he was going to hug me, make up, he would go home with me. And when I got out of the car, he approached me and grabbed me by the arms, and he pushed me into the car a few times. And he was saying, get in the car, stop causing a scene, get in the car. And I said, I tried to stay calm, and I was like, if you let me go, I'll get in the car. I can't get in the car.
What did you get out of the car for?
I thought we were going to make up. I thought he was going to get in the car, we would go home. It was just a simple fight. We were just arguing in the bar. So he was pushing me into the car, and he wouldn't let go.
I'm just asking you, what did you do to him?
I just had approached him in the bar, and I said...
No, I'm asking you what you did to him.
In the bar, I had approached...
No, not in the bar. At the car. Before he bit you. Before he bit you. What did you do to him?
Nothing.
Are you telling me, just for my own curiosity, are you telling me that you didn't put your hands on him in any way? You want to tell me what she did to you?
Yes.
Go ahead.
This is what happened. We were arguing in the bar. We went outside. And she's like, oh, you're dancing with all these girls. Like, I'm attractive. Like, that's what I do. I'm a dancer. This is what I do. Like, and then, like, I was walking into the car. I'm like, go in the car. You're drunk. You're drinking. Just sit in the car. She's like, no. Like, she's deadly. She's beautiful. She tried to gouge my eyes out.
No, I want to. Listen to me. Just slow down. I have to tell you, in all honesty, I don't find you that attractive.
I'm sorry.
I know that that's how you feel about yourself, which is wonderful. And I'm glad she feels that way about you. That is also wonderful. But this is not a place where you're coming to audition. And I already have the job. Do you understand? So yes. I just want you to tell me, you acknowledge that you bit her.
Yes.
And I want you to tell me why you bit her.
Okay. I bit her because when I was walking her to a car, I'm like, just go in the car. And she's like, no. She has her hand in my face, and she clawed me.
She clawed you? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Explain to me.
She scratched me. She's like, she grabbed my face. She has nails digging in my face. And I was drinking. And I bit her. Like.
Okay. So is what you're telling me you bit her because she scratched you?
Yes.
Did either one of you call the police?
No.
Did you call the police?
I did not call the police.
Did you go to the doctor?
I did.
Can I see the doctor's records? Did you go with her to the doctor?
No.
Did she ask you to go with her to the doctor?
I don't remember.
This was the primary care doctor, and this was the physical therapy.
What are you showing me?
I had to go to physical therapy because after the swelling went down on my arm, I realized I had soft tissue damage. He had bit down to the muscle, and there was a large, hard bump on my arm. They had to do ultrasound.
Just a second. Why would he bite you in the arm unless you were attacking him?
He was holding my arms. He was literally...
He was holding?
I couldn't hit him.
Just a second. He was holding your arms. Who was this?
That's my friend Rob.
Rob.
I was not there for this.
No, I know. We're going to use you as a demonstration tool. Okay. Stand up.
Sure.
Because you're going to show me your version of exactly how that happened. He was holding your arms. I want you to place Rob's arms where he was holding your arms. No, place his arms.
Oh.
And Go
He was
ahead.
pushing me against the car.
I'm pushing
and
you
saying, "Get in
against the car.
But the
Wait,
door was closed.
Pushing you against the car. And then?
And then he pulled my arm up and he bit me right here for a while. He didn't let go for a while. And then as soon as he released, I got in the car and I locked the door.
So from that motion, he just picked up your arm?
He picked up my arm and he bit into me, and for a while he didn't release it.
Now, I'm looking for when you went to the doctor.
This was a Wednesday in April. I'm not sure the exact date.
Well, think about it.
April 20-something. I'm not sure the exact date.
Would you kindly show me here?
It's on the script.
What?
The small script.
Oh, no, not this.
Oh.
I want this.
Oh.
I want this, not a prescription.
There's a pen marked by the date at the top right of the page. Those are just for my treatment.
I'm not interested in your treatment for your bad back.
No,
Listen to me. Not interested in your treatment for your bad back. What I'm interested in is for the next day or that night, the notes.
I didn't go to physical therapy the next day. It wasn't until the swelling.
I'm talking about, I said, did you go to the doctor to be treated?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about your physical therapy.
That's on the script. That's my primary care doctor that wrote that script.
I don't care about it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Nicole Krobeck says ex-boyfriend Calvin Johnson owes for a loan for dental work and for biting her during an argument.
Now, he owes you $350 because that was a loan,
Your Honor,
right?
please.
Because that was a loan, correct?
Yes.
And you didn't pay her back?
No.
Your Honor,
And this
please,
is
if I could say something.
This is nonsense.
That was the date I went to my primary care doctor.
Show me the records. I don't want a prescription. Show me the records. You brought me a whole bunch of records.
I could get it faxed here if that shows the date that I went there.
Listen to me. You know how you brought this to me to show me every day that you went to physical therapy what the diagnosis was, which happened to have been backache, unspecified.
I can highlight what's
Listen to me. Backache, unspecified. All I need is the same kind of report from the doctor you saw the next day that indicates what it was. Not this.
I could try to get that paperwork. I didn't have time.
You don't have to bother
here.
anymore because a month later you lent him $350, and in between the time you lent him this alleged altercation and the loan of $350, you forgave him.
I was trying to explain the reason we stayed in contact.
Not interested. $350. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She was with her group of friends. I was with mine, and I was entertaining them.
I wasn't angry. He was just dancing inappropriately, and I was explaining to him that it was embarrassing.
I'm gorgeous. What do you think went on? Like,
He was with other girls, but that's neither here nor there now.
I was drunk. I really don't remember. But she wasn't very happy.
Hopefully, he'll pay me back on his own terms.
Just fighting over nonsense and stupidity, but
I'm going to keep trusting people. I'm not going to let it change me.
it's over and done with.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat. Welcome, Judge.
Let me tell you, this case is about a bad check. And it's a bad check that Mr. Grant, you claim that the defendant gave to you.
Yes.
Made a loan to her. She gave you a check. You cashed it. And it bounced. So I'm not going to start with you. I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
How old are you first?
24.
And how old is Mr. Grant?
23, I believe.
And how do you know him?
I've known him through school.
What school?
Sammamish High School.
You didn't socialize with him in a boyfriend-girlfriend way?
No.
But just friends?
Yes.
Now, there came a time when Mr. Grant gave you some money.
Yes.
Tell me when that was.
Well, I wrote him a check for...
No. I said there came a time when Mr. Grant gave you some money. When was that?
He actually...
When is a date?
I don't know the exact date, but he didn't give me any money.
Did he advance you anything so that you all could go out for an evening?
No.
Well, tell me what the $250 check that you wrote to him was for.
Well, his mom watched his funds really closely.
Don't tell me what his mom did. I want you to tell me what you wrote him a $250 check for.
So he can spend money and go out. Because it was my boyfriend's birthday at the time.
So that it was your boyfriend's birthday.
Yes.
And you wanted to go out with your boyfriend for his birthday.
We all wanted to go out, yes.
Your boyfriend. I never took 3 people out for my boyfriend's birthday. And I, believe it or not, have an intact memory of having a boyfriend when I was your age or a little younger. And I remember we never took out a third person to celebrate with us.
There was multiple people. It wasn't just us three.
What multiple people were there? Because you didn't put that in your answer.
I can't remember exactly who all was
Well,
there.
why don't you try to remember? When was the birthday?
It was January 27th.
That you remember. January 27th.
I believe so, yes. It wasn't his exact birthday.
Well, how do you have not an exact birthday? Did his mother
It
have a prolonged
his,
labor? What was it?
That wasn't his birthday the day that we went out. We were celebrating his birthday.
When was his birthday?
January 28th.
So the day before.
I believe so, yes.
Now I want you to tell me how this $250 came about. Come on.
I wrote him a check for $250.
On what date?
I don't remember.
You have the bounce check?
Yeah.
Did you write the check the same day as you gave it to him?
Yes.
Did you date it the same day?
I don't know.
What do you know?
I know that I wrote him a $250 check because his mom watches his funds very closely.
Don't tell me because.
He said that he was going to not cash it, and that was going to be like a loan to him, but he ended up cashing it.
Just a second. You want to run this by me again, what you just said, very slowly?
I wrote him
No. I remember what you just said. Now I want you to very slowly.
I wrote him a $250 check because his mom watches his funds very closely.
Yes.
He said that he would not cash the check.
Yes.
But he ended up cashing it.
Yes.
And he
you
wasn't
left out the word
to.
loan, which you included a moment ago. You want me to play back the tape for you?
Yeah, it was a loan for him, but he wasn't supposed to cash a check. He was just supposed to
He was
show...
a loan for him for what?
For the night, because I was helping him out. Because his
Will
mom...
you want to explain to me how you were helping him out?
Because his mom watches his funds very closely.
I don't want you to say that sentence again.
Okay.
I don't want you to... I want you to erase it from your mind. I don't want you to use that phrase ever again while you're standing here. Explain to me how it was a loan requires a borrower and a lender. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Who was the borrower?
Him. He was the borrower.
Who did he borrow the money from?
Me.
He borrowed money from you.
He wasn't supposed to.
Just a second. He borrowed money from you. You want to try to explain that to me?
I gave him a $250 check.
Yes.
For him to show his mom.
Yes.
He wasn't supposed to...
No, don't. You promised not to say that again. Or anything. You gave him a $250 check for him to show his mom. And?
Because he didn't want to take money out of his bank account that day.
And?
And that's it.
That is the most bizarre, ridiculous story that I ever heard.
I believe so.
You believe so?
Yeah,
I agree with you. It is the most bizarre, ridiculous story I ever heard.
I just say one thing. Everything she just said is a lie.
No, it's not.
I didn't lend any money from her. She lent money from me. I gave her $33.
No. You can have a borrower and a lender. Listen to me carefully. One borrows, one lends.
I lent.
You lent her how much money?
$33.
When did you lend? When did you lend her $33?
I know the specific date. It was months and months ago.
Months and months ago?
Yeah.
What does $33 have to do with a check for $250?
Well, she didn't have any cash, so she wrote me the check for $250 for me to put it in my bank account, and it'd all go in there, and I'll just give her the leftovers. I'd keep the $33, so I gave her $217 to keep my $33.
True. I don't want you to say a word. You're his mother. You know nothing firsthand about this. Absolutely nothing. You know nothing about what went on between them. You only know what he told you, right? You know what he told you.
Right. But he did come to me right after she did this.
Just a second.
And
I don't want to
call her mother.
Now,
no, you didn't.
Now we're going to put you out. Oh. Now we're going to put you out. Do you understand?
Okay.
Great. You know nothing of what went on between the two of them. And despite the fact that they may be 23 and 24...
Can I just say one thing?
Out.
No!
Man.
Out.
No!
Miss.
Out.
Okay, okay.
Out.
Come.
Let's go.
I understand. Out this way.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Now she's gone. What's your first name?
Kyle.
Kyle. You gave her $33.
Yes.
Several months ago. January?
No, it wasn't January.
Before January?
It was last year.
It was last year?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not interested in the $33.
Well.
I'm interested in this $250 check that was written January 24th, which she says is actually before you went out. Did you go out with her and her boyfriend and a whole bunch of other people?
I went with a whole bunch of other people with them, but...
In January?
Yeah, in January.
And was it around her then-boyfriend's birthday?
Yes. His birthday is on the 25th.
You know, Kyle, your mother clearly wrote this complaint because I believe everything that you're saying to me. Because you're saying that the $250 check, which is actually consistent with some of what she writes in her answer, was given so that you could party along with them on the 27th when they all went out for the evening. And that your mother watches you like a hawk, which I couldn't see. And I know that you've had some difficulties in the past. But your mother says in the complaint, even though you signed it, Leah took my $250, went out with her boyfriend, and never told me where they were going. I was disappointed, but shrugged it off.
Written down, that is true.
Well, that's not what you just told me.
That's
You
not
told me
true.
that you went out with them all. You went out with a whole
It
bunch
wasn't
of
on the
people.
25th, though. Sorry, it wasn't on the 25th.
No, she doesn't say it was on the 25th. She said it was on the 27th.
It was around there.
Right. Well, that's what she says, that you all went out. Now, when you all went out, who paid the bill?
Wait.
Who
Sorry.
paid the bill? Did you drink?
No. I
Did
didn't
you
drink.
eat?
I don't think so.
Well, what did you do?
I was just with him. We were just all hanging out for
Where?
his birthday.
Where?
At the Caribbean Casino in Kirkland.
So it's just a casino? No.
Casino/bar.
Yeah.
Do you drink?
I don't go out and drink a lot and drive. I wouldn't
That's
like to
not
go
what
down
I
that
asked you.
path.
I asked you.
But I don't go out and drink
There's
very
nothing
often.
so funny about this. I mean, if you find this really funny, you look ridiculous. And you sound ridiculous. Got it? Perfect. I asked you on that night, you sort of remember what happened that night. Did you drink?
One beer.
Fine. Did they have dinner?
I wasn't watching them.
What about you?
I didn't have anything to eat.
Who did you go with? Who did you drive with?
I drove myself.
Did anybody go with you?
I don't exactly remember.
I actually drove. He didn't drive his car.
Who else was in the car with you?
My ex-boyfriend.
Just the three of you?
Yes, and then we met people at the casino.
Does that sound right to you, Kyle?
I don't remember exactly.
But it's possible
It's
that she
possible,
drove with the boyfriend and that you met a bunch of other people at the casino.
I'm not exactly sure if it's true.
Did you take money out of your account?
I took out $260 to give her the $250.
Tell me about how that came about, Kyle, that you gave her...
He
that you
never gave me any $250.
No, I don't believe that. Otherwise, there's no reason for him to write this check. And it sounds to me as if he was sort of footing the bill for this party that you were having for your boyfriend at the casino. Otherwise, there would be no reason for you to write him a
I
check.
wrote him the check.
That was not a question. That was a statement.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Kyle Grant says former friend Leah Hensel owes for a loan to pay for her boyfriend's birthday celebration.
Now, did you take money out of your bank?
Yes.
Could you show me your bank statement where you took money out of your bank? I'd like to see it, please.
It's highlighted.
Now you're getting nervous. You know what happens?
I'm not getting nervous
You
at
know what
all.
happens when you get nervous?
I'm not nervous
Do you
because
know
I
what
know I'm
happens?
telling the
Let
truth.
me tell you. You know what happens when you get nervous? Sadly, for certain people, when they lie, especially some women, their chest gets bright red. Bright red.
Well, I'm not nervous.
Unfortunately, we have this program in color. Miss Hensel?
Yes.
You know that Kyle has certain limitations?
Yes.
You know him for a long time.
Yes.
Right? I think you took advantage of that. Now, I may be wrong. I have been
I
wrong.
definitely
I was
did
last
not take
wrong.
advantage
I
of
was
it.
last wrong in 1945, a date that I actually remember because I got my first spanking. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $250. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Flew out of my car, landed on my head at 77, around 70 something on my head.
$250 that he
Just my brain, I didn't think exactly the same as I normally do.
supposedly gave me, but he didn't.
When I got out of the hospital.
No, I did not take advantage of him.
There's a lot of people that did that when that happened.
I think it's ridiculous.
I don't even lend out money, and all of a sudden I did that without even thinking about it.
Jeffrey and Christine Collins are suing their neighbors, Lon Fong and Hong Tran, for vandalism and security costs.
Order. All rise. It's case number 44 in the calendar, the matter of Collins versus Pham Tran.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Mr. and Mrs. Collins, you live in your home for how long?
Approximately 6 years.
And you're immediate neighbors to the defendants, is that correct?
That is correct.
How long have you lived in your home?
About a year and a half.
Do you own your home?
Yes, we do.
Do you?
Yes.
Your complaint is that the defendants are not only unpleasant neighbors, but they have rendered it impossible for you to live peacefully and to quietly enjoy your property because of their conduct. You want to be compensated for not only the lack of peaceful enjoyment of your home, but also for certain security measures that you've put in order to memorialize what goes on in their house so that you can show that to the authorities or to a court at a certain juncture. The defendants say there is nothing wrong with the that you've been harassing them since they moved in. They have a counterclaim. Now, tell me the conduct that you are complaining of, sir, and when it started.
It started actually on the first day they moved in, and we wanted to go over there and greet them. And when we kind of went out of the house, we saw their dog was running around our neighborhood on our grass and barking, a little chihuahua. We were really afraid of it, but there is a leash law in our city. And so I introduced myself. I told them we have children, we have cats, and we asked them if they could please keep their dog on a leash and, you know, keep the neighborhood nice.
Who did you have that conversation with?
With Miss Pham.
I do remember that conversation, and I have told Mr. Collins that, oh, yes, we'll do whatever we can. And that was when the dog was in the car. Of course, there was no leash because we were moving into the house. So we had told him, yeah, well, definitely we'll accommodate that. There was no problem with that.
Great. Okay.
So it just continued from there. There were many incidents where the Chihuahua was running around the neighborhood, coming into our patio. It actually went into our backyard one time. We had to corral the dog, bring it back over for them, and it just continued to go and go until one day the dog disappeared. We would see the dog when we go for walks, and we saw the dog at least a quarter of a mile away from the house one time, just running around.
Where's the dog now?
The Chihuahua is no longer with us.
Where is it?
Actually, I have no idea.
So the Chihuahua got loose?
No, the Chihuahua. Yeah, the Chihuahua.
Yes, just a second.
Yes,
That's what he says.
Yes.
Listen.
I'm sorry.
Listen. Don't think of what I want to hear, because ultimately I'm going to get to the truth of what happened. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So it ran away.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Perfect. That's the answer. Okay. So now we've dealt with the dog.
Right. So as time went on, they started having parties for some reason. This is a very beautiful neighborhood. These are all originally million-dollar homes. They have this beautiful home, but they tend to live in their garage. And I think this is the root of the problem, because they have these parties. I have no problem with having parties, but they have them in the garage. The garage door is open. They have various people coming in and out all hours of the night. I'm talking 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They're smoking, they're laughing, they're drinking, and our houses are very close to each other, and we hear all of this.
How many times a month or a week would you say that happens?
I would say at least 3 times a month, almost every weekend. Usually Friday, Saturday, even sometimes Sunday.
And the parties go until late at night?
Yes, late in the morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Go ahead.
So we come to the conclusion that they just either did not respect our wishes because of the issues with the dog. We called the police because there is a noise order where you must have quiet time after 10 p.m. The police would come by, they would hear the noise, they'd tell them to shut the garage, cut it out. This just went on and on for, I guess, maybe 9, 10 months. Every time we would do this, there would be some retaliation against us the next day. We'd either find egg on our house, egg on our car, or after the police would leave, they would start slamming doors. So the police would come out, they'd tell them to quiet down, and then 2 minutes later, they start door slamming the garage door, slamming the side door. So it's just become very frustrating for them and us.
Whenever I see a video machine, I suspect that you have something that you want to show me.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm ready to see the video, please.
This is one of the worst incidents where the police came by and asked them to just quiet the dog down.
Let go.
I don't care if you're in a wheelchair, you understand?
Okay, can you let go, please? I'm hurting. Let go, please. I'm not going to go anywhere.
The neighbors are still having...
Why were you taken into custody?
Well, I actually wasn't. I was just wanted to go check on my friend, and they did not allow me to do that, so they just wanted to stop me. I was never taken into custody.
Check on your friend for...
Well, my friend got arrested. He was put in the back car because that was the one friend that occasionally had... We have get-togethers almost, probably twice a month.
Let's not go back into history. One of your friends got arrested.
Yes.
At a party that was in your house.
Correct. At a get-together.
On what charge was your friend taken into custody?
There was no charge because he was released the next day. There was no police report.
That's not what I'm...
Okay.
Listen, that's all hearsay.
Okay.
Your friend was taken into custody. What was your friend doing when he was taken into custody?
My friend was talking to the cops, and I guess a cop said something, and they got mad at him, and they took him that night.
And why were you handcuffed?
Because I was trying to go and see what's going on, and I was trying to see if my friend was okay, and they did not allow me to do that. That's why they handcuffed me, to stop me from going.
Because you were obstructing governmental administration. That's what it's called. They had taken someone into custody, and you were interfering with that.
I understand.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, that makes it easy. So that's the first thing that I saw. Now, the second thing I saw was a large German Shepherd. Have you replaced with a German Shepherd?
Yes.
Okay. That's different ends of the spectrum. Now, the third video I saw, and heard mostly, was a party emanating from your garage that was clearly too loud at night.
I can understand that, but we had shut down all the garage and all the doors. The garage door was up this high up just to let the smoke come out of the garage. And just to make our point clear, we did not do this 3-4 times a month. We have parties. Ever since we moved in, we had 3 parties, Your Honor.
Why don't you have parties in your house instead of the garage?
We actually have parties in the house, but sometimes it's taken out to the garage because the guys do smoke. So they come out there, and maybe there's 4 or 5 guys standing outside the garage smoking. We never
There was music coming from the garage.
No, we never play music.
There was music. You want to play it again? There was music coming from the garage.
Maybe there was a little bit of music coming out, but like I said, Mr. Collins had never came up to us and talked to us about the situation. If they had approached us and knocked on our door from the beginning, we would have never gone this far, Your Honor.
Just a sec. Hold on. Hey. You said something that was very interesting to me.
I'm so sorry.
No, it was interesting. It was a good interesting.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Jeffrey and Christine Collins say neighbors Lon Pham and Hong Tran are neighborhood nuisances. The plaintiffs are suing for vandalism and security costs. The defendants are countersuing for harassment.
Now, Miss Pham, you said if Mr. Collins had come to your door and knocked at your door, it never would have come this far. Now, I want you to think about what you said to me. Let's say Mr. Collins came to your door and said to you, the parties that you're having on the weekends are disturbing my family. Maybe you don't realize it, but the noise carries, and even if your garage door is open just a little bit to let the smoke out, it's still very disturbing to you. And you, Miss Pham, says...
Of course, yes.
And tell me how you would modify your behavior.
We would definitely tell all our friends, hey, you know what, we are having a complaint, and Mr. Collins has been nice enough to come over and knock on our door and say, hey, guys, keep it down. We're trying to sleep, whatever. And, like he said, this is on the weekends, ma'am, never on the weekends.
He says it happens on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday night. People are entitled to go to sleep on the weekend. So what you're saying to me, Miss Pham, is you would have modified your behavior.
Definitely.
Because you understood that your behavior was irritating to somebody else, right?
Yes.
Then you should have done it the first time you had a complaint.
But, ma'am, Your Honor...
Just think about what you're saying. You're saying, if he had come over nicely and asked, I would have done the right thing. But because he called the police, and the police came, because the police came to you frequently, right?
Yes, but
then
we never...
because the police came, you decided to keep doing exactly what you were doing.
No, ma'am. We always tell our people, okay, hey, guys, the police come. We need to move this inside, or you guys need to come outside and not be loud and stuff like that. So there was never an incident when the police had came twice.
That's not what I'm saying to you. What I'm saying to you is you just told me that if he had come to you nicely, we never would have been here today because you would have modified the way you conduct your parties.
And like we modified the way we conduct our parties by the police coming to our doors, because they came, and so we had modified our behaviors
I don't
also.
believe you. I actually don't believe you. When does your dog go inside? That's a very simple question. At what time of the night does your German Shepherd go indoors?
Usually about 9:30, the dog goes inside the garage.
So the dog goes inside the garage, doesn't go inside your house?
No, ma'am, it's not. We do not let the dog inside the house.
Well, what is the dog there for?
Pretty much protection. And, for me, it's a therapy thing. It's a therapy dog.
Therapy dogs usually lay by the side of your bed. They're not in the garage. You rely on it. You get up in the middle of the night, the dog is there. That's what a therapy dog is. Now, you have a counterclaim?
I have a counterclaim.
I got 30 seconds for it.
Okay, I have a counterclaim. I have here police reports of how many incidents that we moved in a year and a half now. There's so many incidents that they call the cops on us. And like I said, they never approached us from the beginning. Yes, they approached us by saying, oh, welcome to the neighborhood. Oh, by the way, how much did you pay for your home? I never even knew that they were the one that called the police on us until that night that they came out. And Mr. Collin here had gave me the finger that night, and also he pulled down his pants to moon us. That was never recorded because obviously I was not prepared for that incident.
Your counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Listen to me carefully. You cannot move into a neighborhood and interfere with the way somebody else conducts their life because your friends don't know how to behave. And if your friends don't know how to behave without you telling them, I assume they're adults. You have children?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So I assume that you don't mind your children suffering from secondhand smoke that's filling up your garage and into your house. Do you smoke?
I smoke.
Yeah. Do you?
A little bit.
Yeah, well, a little bit. So I assume that you don't mind your children's lungs getting black with smoke. Maybe they don't want that for their children. That is unconscionable. We're all entitled to peaceful enjoyment of our own property that we paid money to live in. And we don't say that you have any greater right to enjoy your property to the detriment of somebody else. You wouldn't like that if I said that to you. I said, well, you have these people living next door to you. You know, he's a CEO of a big company. And if he wants to throw parties and his friends are loud and they play boom boxes and there's noise, he could do that. Just get used to it. Do you think you would like that? You would not. They don't have to get used to your loud parties that last well beyond a reasonable hour. And it's certainly unreasonable for your friends to be outside smoking around their windows so that they can't open up their windows, including you. I mean, don't you read ads? Don't you see that? And your children. And your children.
I can understand that, but it's like we can't even smoke in front of our house.
Listen to me. This isn't time for you to speak. This is time for you to listen. I've dismissed your counterclaim. I've awarded them $5,000 on their claim. Maybe that will penetrate to you. This case is over.
What is our excuse? Let me step out.
We are entitled to have our get-togethers, and we are entitled to smoke in our property, and we are entitled to have parties.
If they would move the party in their house and out of the garage, we wouldn't.
Maybe seated. Folks have a seat.
Miss Neal, when were you injured with a pellet gun? On what date?
It was March the 16th, 2012.
You were driving your car?
Yes, I was driving my car home.
And according to what I read, what you felt was something shatter your window, and then you felt something in your eye.
Yes.
And you had glass in your eye.
Yes.
You had how many surgeries to repair your eye?
My eye wasn't injured from that. I had just had cataract surgery, and then by the glass going into my eye, it did re-injure it.
Now, your lawsuit alleges that this young man is responsible for that.
Yes.
And you will want him to be responsible and to pay for your medical bills, pain and suffering, the damage to your car.
Yes.
Now, you're his father?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been having trouble with your son?
Not much.
How long have you been having trouble with him? How many years?
Very little. We have had no problems with him.
He was suspended from school on the 15th of March.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the first time he was suspended from school?
He has detention and not suspension.
How many detentions did he have before he was finally suspended?
Maybe 4.
Well, maybe 4 is a lot. Maybe 4 in 1 year or 4 altogether?
4 altogether.
How old is he?
14.
Did he pass all of his subjects in 2012?
2012? No.
Right. That sounds to me like trouble, right?
No, ma'am, it doesn't.
Oh, it sounds to me like the beginning of a lot of trouble. Now, I would like to know who bought him that pellet gun. That bird I'd like you to take for me, would you please, and put over near where you are? Who bought
My
him?
wife and myself for Christmas.
Christmas of what year?
2011?
Now, She was injured in March of 2012, which was 3 months later. Now, between Christmas, when they're on vacation, right? You're on vacation Christmas time, right?
Yes.
So you went back to school in January. How many detentions did you have in January? Your father says you had 4 altogether. Your father says, very easy to find out, before you were ultimately suspended. How many detentions did you have in January? You don't remember. How many did you have in February?
I don't remember.
How many did you have before Christmas?
I don't remember.
What did you have detention for?
Can't remember that either.
Can't remember. How many subjects did you pass last year?
Not many.
How many subjects did you pass the year before?
Not many.
And for all of this, you were rewarded with a pellet gun. Is that right? I just want to get my situation straight from the father who thinks that he doesn't have a problem. Right?
Yes, and it was my birthday.
I don't care whether it was your birthday on December 31st, December 24th, or whatever it was. I just want to get my situation straight. That you failed 2 years ago, you failed last year, and as your reward, you got a very grown-up present. That pellet gun. I'm just putting this thing in order. So far, am I correct?
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
And your first name is?
Kevin Hall.
All right. Now, Kevin, when you got suspended from school, what were you suspended from school for?
For
what? What were you suspended for?
Striking a girl with a pencil.
What? Say it again.
Striking a girl with a pencil.
What do you mean striking her with a pencil?
Tapping her on the shoulder.
You think I believe that? Maybe your father, who doesn't think that you do anything wrong, believes that. I don't think that you got suspended because you... You think Bird minds when I do that? Bird doesn't mind when I do that. They wouldn't suspend me from my job from doing that, and your school would not suspend you for tapping a girl on the shoulder with a pencil.
Yes, ma'am, but I showed the aide how I did it, and she felt harassed, so...
She felt harassed?
Yes, she did.
Now, do you live with your father?
Yes, I do.
Who else lives in your house?
My mother.
Your father and mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you were suspended from school, they sent you to your grandfather's house.
Yes.
Why?
Because I was suspended.
What do you mean because you were suspended? Were you suspended so they sent you away from home? Why did you send him to his grandfather's house?
We both work. He is supervised at his grandfather's when we are not there.
Really? Well, evidently not.
Apparently not?
Apparently not. Now, what was the pellet gun doing at his grandfather's house?
It's where it stays. He is in the country.
Let me understand this. You got the pellet gun for Christmas or your birthday?
My birthday.
Do you live in the city?
Yes.
And your grandfather lives in the country?
Yes.
How long did you keep the pellet gun in the city? How many months or weeks?
We've never had it in the city.
So when you got it, you brought it directly to your grandfather's house?
Yes.
And when do you use it in your grandfather's house?
Every weekend.
With whom?
My grandpa.
That's your grandfather?
Yes.
But on March 16th, 2012, you took out the pellet gun without your grandfather.
No.
No. You mean the pellet gun that they found in the bushes was not yours?
No.
Who did it belong to?
I don't know.
Who were you with when Miss Neal's window was shot out?
My grandpa at his house.
Really? You weren't with anybody else? No 2 other friends?
No, ma'am.
No. You have a police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please. Miss Neal, did you identify anyone to the police as the person you saw running away with the pellet gun?
I saw 3 little boys run away. I saw him with the gun, threw it in the bushes, and all 3 of them ran. But 2 of them came to me, but one of them I knew as my neighbor.
The one you knew as the neighbor was not the one carrying the pellet gun?
No, it wasn't.
And are you certain that this was the young man that you saw?
Yes, I'm positive that was him. I also have a report, a letter from this other little boy he was with. He was with 2 others, but one of them...
Just a second. Your eyes say that you saw 3 little boys.
Yes.
One you recognized as a neighbor.
Yes.
And he was not the one with a gun.
Right.
He was one of the other 2 boys.
Yes.
Was the other boy bigger or smaller?
Than him? He was a little bigger.
Bigger?
Yeah, he was the smallest of the 3.
Had you ever seen him before?
No.
But you had only seen one of the other people before.
Right.
Go. Go. I'm listening to you.
I'm sorry?
I want to hear your story. She just told me what happened. I want to hear your story.
Well, I was suspended that day.
Get up here. Up here.
Well, I was suspended that day because I tapped the girl on the shoulder with a pencil, and I went to my grandpa's house, and I was watching TV in his bed. And then after I was done being suspended, I left back to my house.
Did the police ever come to talk to you?
No, they came to talk to my father.
So the police came to talk, and they spoke to your father?
Yes.
Were you home when they spoke to your father?
No, ma'am, not the first day.
What about the next time they came? Did you have a conversation with the police?
I was not there. My father was.
Do you go to your grandfather's every weekend?
Yes, almost every weekend.
And what are the names of some of your friends in the neighborhood?
Lewis, Gabriel, Kenny.
Who else?
That's it.
What's the name of the person who signed that note?
Lewis.
That's one of your friends?
Yes.
Now I'll see the note. Lewis, your friend.
Yes.
Lewis was a witness of what occurred on that certain date. The person who shot out the owner's car window is Kevin Hall. This isn't the first time Kevin has broken a homeowner's window. He also broke my window and never paid my mom for the damages. This is your friend who wrote this about you. Hmm?
Yes. Well, he's not my friend anymore.
That you're not.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Claims 14-year-old Kevin Hall injured her when he shot out the windshield of her car. Kevin is denying the charge.
Now, do you remember shooting out his window with the pellet gun?
No.
You don't remember that?
I threw an orange at it because he had my phone and was teasing me.
So you threw an orange at it, and the orange shattered his window?
Yes.
Did you tell your father about that?
Yes.
Did your father pay for it? No. Go back. You see, Mr. Hall, this is your problem. If said to me, I was out with my friends, and one of them shot it through the window, wasn't me, say, you know what, it's possible. But that's not what he says. He's so accustomed to lying that he said, I was at my grandfather's house watching TV. When my suspension was over, I went home. He didn't say to me I was with my friends outside at all.
Can I say something?
Listen to me, sir. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So I want you to follow what I said. Your son didn't say it was somebody else who did it, but we were all out together. He says, I don't know what he's talking about. That's what he says.
Okay, he was not even at our property. He was at his father's, got suspended the day before. He was not at home that whole week.
So?
So, I believe these boys are lying. They have bullied him. They've picked on him. They have jumped off of our roof.
What about the girl who he was harassing that the school suspended him for?
She even told the aides that we were fooling around, but they did not accept that.
So it was the girl's fault and the aides' fault and the school's fault. Now let's get to the orange and the broken window. Your son says he admitted to you that he broke somebody's window. He says with an orange, that didn't happen. But he acknowledges that he broke the window. Just answer my question, yes or no. Did you pay for the window?
I did not.
Right. So let me suggest this to you. I'm not the first judge before whom your son is going to appear unless you take control of him and figure out that he has a problem and start fixing it. And one of the ways I would not fix it is to give him a weapon that's capable of causing injury. If inappropriately supervised, which he is. Now, you work, your wife works. I'm sympathetic with the fact that you may not have sufficient resources to adequately supervise him. But that doesn't mean you make excuses for him. I just want you to think of the string of excuses that you've made for him in the relatively short period of time that you and I have been together. It's really outrageous. And he listens to you, and he believes that he can get away with it. That he was suspended for tapping somebody on the shoulder, that he broke a window with an orange, that he wasn't out of the house with his two friends, that he was in the house with his grandfather. I don't even have to ask his grandfather because I don't think his grandfather knows.
Disagree. If we
I don't
have
care what you agree with. When you go to law school, sir, and you have 50 years of experience in the law, you can sit up here and make a whole bunch of money and agree with me or disagree with me. But right now, Mr. Hall, I suggest, sir, I've spent almost 50 years in the juvenile justice system, seen tens of thousands of kids. He's no different from tens of thousands of kids. The difference is that he has a father who makes excuses for him. And the more you make excuses for his behavior and reward failing grades with a pellet gun, failing grades show either one of two things, either total lack of responsibility, that he suffers from some kind of learning disability that you have not addressed as a parent, or that he is incapable of doing the work. Those are the three things that failing grades for 2 years represent. Nothing else.
We have moved from that neighborhood. His grades have gone from the F's, D's. He is now at A's and B's. The neighborhood he is out of, we were moved prior to
So
this.
now it was the neighborhood's fault.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just want to understand.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
the orange's fault. It's the friend's fault. It's the neighborhood's fault. It's the girl who got tapped on the shoulder. It's the aide who he explained himself to, and the school. So far, we have a whole lot of people. And now he's moved, and now he's fine.
Okay.
Good. You're not asking for enough money, Miss Neal. You're asking for $105. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Step out.
Thank you so much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I wasn't really interested in getting the money.
You know, the boy has made a total improvement of what he's done since we moved out of there.
Just thought they could do little odd jobs for me.
And he's been bullied all along
I thought they could make it into a father-son project.
because they're using him to get out of it.
However, they kept avoiding me.
Yeah, just take a little better care of your kid. See what's happening with him.
I wonder who needs the help, him or the child. I kind of think he needs more help than the child.
Oquendo versus Villarreal. All parties, please step forward.
Amber Oquendo is suing her former tenant, Nancy Villarreal, for unpaid rent.
Miss Oquendo, you own a home.
Yes.
How large is the home?
It's 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and approximately 1,700 square feet.
When did you purchase the home?
2018.
Can I ask you what the cost was?
$225,000.
And you live there in the house, just you, with whom?
I don't live in that house. That's my rental.
You bought it as a rental? Somebody was playing their music loud.
Mm-hmm.
It was a problem for you.
Yes.
You asked them to be quiet.
Yes,
you
Your
told her it was a problem.
Yes.
And then there was some sort of a kerfuffle. I don't know what happened. You want to tell me?
For 5 weeks.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2008, Delano versus Taylor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Briefly, and then I'll get into specifics. You sold over the internet some wigs.
Mm-hmm.
You claim you sold them to the defendant.
Yes.
They were charged on a credit card. According to you, it was the defendant's credit card. You shipped the wigs. The defendant, according to you, received the wigs, then challenged the credit card charge, and the charge was reversed so that you did not get your money. And Miss Taylor kept the wigs. It is Miss Taylor's claim that you never sold her the wigs, that you sold the wigs to clients of hers, and if they didn't pay you, that's not her problem. Is that your defense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Stop jumping up and down because it makes me seasick.
Okay.
Stand still. I can't. You can't. You want a stool to sit on?
No.
You sure?
I just have anxiety.
Okay. Miss Diallo, how long had you been in the online wig business?
3 years now.
And on what date did Miss Taylor contact you?
October 1st of 2021.
Had you ever dealt with her before?
I haven't. A customer of mine actually referred her to me.
You had not dealt with her before?
Correct.
And her first order was for what?
A 34-inch deep wave wig unit.
I don't know what that is. Tell me how much it cost you.
$391.
And how much did you charge Miss Taylor?
$491.96.
And you shipped it to her?
No, I didn't.
Where did you ship it?
Right now, I didn't ship anything at the moment.
Okay, so she ordered the first one for $491.
Yes, and then after that, I shipped after.
How many did she order all in total?
In total, 5.
Within what period of time?
In the span of 4 days.
Okay, and Miss Taylor, you do not deny the fact that 5 wigs were ordered in a conversation over the internet with the... Do you have a copy of those orders?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them, please. Who's Joyce?
One of my clients. Your Honor, that's her.
Shh. Do you have a MasterCard?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any credit card?
Yes, ma'am.
How long has Joyce been a client of yours?
Probably about a year.
When you say she's a client of yours, she comes to your salon?
Yes.
You have a
my
salon?
Apartment. No, I have to do my hair out of my apartment.
So she comes to your apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you know when she wants to come for an appointment?
She'll text me. She'll DM me.
Okay, so she texts you, which means she texts you from a phone.
Right.
Which means that you have your phone, which shows her text messages.
Not.
What do you mean, not? If she texts you for an appointment, then you know how to contact her. Yeah. And she knows how to contact you. I want to see that. I want to call her.
I don't have that phone anymore.
Get it. You have to understand where I'm going. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes, you understand where I'm going. Who is that?
My boyfriend.
Your boyfriend. What does he have to do with this?
Because he was at the house when her and someone else came to the door.
I don't care.
Okay.
If I were coming to court today and I knew that there was going to be a certain amount of proof that involved some person who is named Joyce, and order confirmation email was sent to Joyce at your email address.
Right.
Right. And Joyce is somebody who was a client of yours for a year, not too long ago, who's no longer a client of yours. Not uh-huh. Uh-huh isn't an answer. Yes is an answer.
Ma'am.
But you can't give... Just a second. Well, that's 2 different things. You see, if she may have blocked your number, she won't block my number. That's not what you told me. You told me you don't have that phone anymore.
I don't.
Well,
and she blocked me.
How do I know that?
Her. I don't know.
How do I know that?
Did.
Yeah, right. Okay. Dora Dynasty, is that your?
Yes, that's my business.
That's your business. Well, these wigs were sent to Dora Dynasty.
Right.
Right. I know, right. And who is?
A client.
And is still your client?
No.
No. Okay. You seem to be having a lot of trouble in your business.
How?
Yeah.
I've been having this trouble ever since the wigs have got delivered, and she hit me about a dispute.
Let me explain something to you. You purchased the wigs based upon her conversation.
I got
she had to just pay careful attention to me. They were all delivered to you.
Right.
That means you bought them. If somebody stiffed you, that's not her problem. But according to her, and you acknowledge that she sent you 5 wigs, and the is not an answer. Do you understand? You following me? Okay. What was the total value of her purchase?
$21.96.
And can I see the reversal of that charge on your credit card?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, at some point, your credit card was charged. At some point, your credit card was charged. That's either a yes or a no.
No.
Whose credit card was charged?
My client's.
Which client?
I'm not sure. Whichever wig she said was disputed.
You said in your answer you kept all the wigs.
No, I didn't. I didn't keep all the wigs. They got delivered to my house. 2 of them I installed, and the rest they picked up.
The wigs got shipped directly to my salon.
The wigs shipped to my apartment because I was going to do their hair. I told them about the vendor.
Are you trying to tell me that despite the records that she has, that you were the contact person on all of the wigs to somebody else?
They
to 4 other people. They paid who?
They paid her. They paid for the wigs, and they got them shipped to my house.
Were 4 different people charged for the wigs?
Yes.
4 different people?
Yes, she did 5 different transactions.
Are you telling me that the 5 different transactions were all her?
All her.
That makes my life easy. So what you're saying to me, she charged it on 5 different cards.
Yes, no idea.
But she is all of those people.
All of them. How?
I'd like to see it.
Please. And Your Honor, she also admits it on Twitter. She doesn't actually know I have her Twitter account. And this is how she gets them. She orders,
May I see it, please? See how you're smiling? Bad. She should have left you home.
Man, please.
Do you understand? She should have left you home.
Nah, they just ain't
You
communicating
should have left
right.
you home.
They ain't communicating right.
Still not a good look from you.
Fatoumata Diallo claims salon owner Kanaya Taylor owes for the cost of 5 wigs.
What's Beauty?
That's her business name. Business Twitter. I don't have a Twitter. Right. I have an Instagram, 2 of them. I have and a business page. That's what I have. I don't have a Twitter. Do you have my Instagram? I do.
Don't talk to each other. Don't ask her any questions. That's so interesting.
What?
From Dora Salon, is that it? Or Dora Salon?
Yes, ma'am. No. I have her LLC.
Just a second. Yeah. Can I see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Dora Dynasty. And here's her LLC, so it matches.
I'd like to see it.
And here you go as well. No.
What do you mean, no?
No, my business name is Dora Dynasty.
Yeah. Dora Salon One Beauty, Dora Dynasty LLC, Dora's Dynasty.
Right.
And about the same time, the tweet is over 2,000 in wigs. I'll smack those. And then on the 13th, you write, my wigs come tomorrow. And then on October 11th, I'll be wrong if I dispute it once I get it. And then I don't know what did the...
Because,
what is,
ma'am,
just a sec, I'm reading something. Is not an answer. I didn't ask you anything. What does that mean, Sarah?
It's just an emoji. Like, so what? I don't care.
Oh, I'll be wrong if I dispute it once I get it. So what? But it was so rude I can't even ask them questions, telling me I didn't read it. And then she writes, see how you're smiling? Bad. She should have left you home.
Man, please.
Do you understand? She should have left you home.
Nah, they just ain't
You
communicating
should have left
right.
her home.
They ain't communicating right.
I paid all this money for these wigs and these slow rolling. Wow. I assume that those people, the clients that you were talking about, was slow rolling. Would that be a fair statement? I mean, I'm not familiar with all of this. And then you show me in these tweets, or whatever they call them, a picture that was put up by Boo. Is that a name?
Yes.
Now, what is that?
That's her client actually contacting me and telling me that she's charged her for the wigs and that she was never a stylist to begin with. How did I upcharge the fee when they paid for it themselves?
Nobody hears you, madam. Okay, so you acknowledge you got them. Your statement is you no longer have them. She didn't make a deal with you. She made a deal with 4 other phantom clients, 2 of whom either you lost your phone, the dog ate your phone, you don't have the number anymore, you don't have the contact anymore, but we don't know how to get in touch with him. And then there was somebody that actually was wearing one of the wigs that she didn't get paid for. The invoice and the chargeback, please.
Yes.
Still not a good look from you.
Well,
yeah, not a good look.
It's funny because it's not true.
Not a good look. You the boyfriend?
Yeah.
Stand up for a minute. Just have a couple of questions. Tell me your name.
Braylon, right?
What do you do for a living?
I'm a barber.
Do you live together?
Yes.
How long have you lived together?
Going on a year.
So you were living with her when these wigs were delivered?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Be an answer. Were you there when she opened the wigs?
One wig she had to put together for a client. Then she opened, she told me what she was doing. I know her. I don't be in no business like that.
So the answer is you were only there when one wig was delivered?
I was only there when she opened one wig.
When she opened one.
And I took her to go pick up a wig from her.
Did you drive her there?
Yeah.
Did you go in with her?
No. She came outside. She walked across the street and got it.
Don't speak. Don't speak. She walked across the street and got it.
From her, yeah. downtown.
Your Honor, she was actually driving. Cause,
Do you work out of the apartment as well?
No.
You work out of a shop?
Yes.
Are you ever there when your girlfriend is working on clients in your house, in your apartment?
Yeah, I've been there.
Often?
Not really, I be gone. Working hours, I'm working. She work at the house, I'm working at the shop.
How many rooms are in the place where you and the defendant live?
At the time, we was in a 2-bedroom apartment.
And who was there, just the two of you?
No, we had a roommate.
So you had one bedroom for yourselves, you had a roommate, and then there was a common area, kitchen, living room, right?
Yes.
Where did she conduct her salon business, in what room?
What it would be like dining room area connected.
In the dining room?
Yeah.
And is that where she kept her equipment?
Yes. Maybe one she was working on the door, maybe two at the most.
You paid rent in the apartment?
Did I pay rent? Nah.
Did she pay rent?
Yes.
How much?
It was like, what, $1,200?
Don't ask her anything.
$1,200. I don't pay the rent, $1,200. I don't pay it, so I don't know.
Why don't you pay anything towards rent?
I don't have to pay the rent if I pay the bills, I pay car notes, I pay different stuff. We 50-50.
Well, if it's 50-50, then you would also pay part of the rent.
Not if it add up to both our car notes, rent, which really be a little bit more.
Okay, so you pay the other bills, she pays the rent.
Yeah, I moved in with her. I ain't lived there the whole time. I told you it was only like a year. She was already staying there. I moved in.
With what did you pay the car note? With a check?
No, I pay with either a car or my money.
Your girlfriend, does she have a car?
Does she have a car?
Yes, it's a yes or a no.
Not right now, she did.
Did she?
Yes.
What kind of a car did she have?
Chevrolet Sonic.
And what happened to that car?
It got, whatever, repoed.
It was repossessed.
They was scamming me on my insurance.
Just a second. I didn't ask you anything. I'm asking your witness. Okay. You brought him.
All right. I'm not the only person you suing. If I pulled up
nobody
and bought a vehicle, why wouldn't I
nobody is listening to you.
Okay, well, can I leave?
No.
Fatoumata Diallo has accused salon owner Kanaya Taylor of stealing 5 wigs. Kanaya says Fatoumata was trying to scam her.
So the car was repossessed. When? Don't look at her. Give me a month, give me a year. Was it recent, in less 3 months, 4 months?
I can't give you a month.
So it was repossessed because of non-payment of whatever the note was, because that's the only basis to repossess a car. Okay. Now, we're living in this 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh is not an answer.
Yeah.
Yes is an answer. And you're no longer living in that apartment.
No.
And what happened to that apartment?
I moved. She moved with me.
Okay. You moved when?
November.
November of 2021.
Yes.
Just about the time of all these disputes over wigs. Did your roommate remain in the apartment?
Yes.
Did you have a lease in that apartment?
Yes.
Was your lease over, or did you move out during the lease?
It was over, and I renewed it for my roommate.
Now, the lease was in your name.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh is not an answer. Yes is an
ma'am.
answer, and you renewed the lease even though you moved out.
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you living now?
In Conyers.
What kind of a place?
House. And I pay all the bills.
And what does your girlfriend do?
She works.
What does she do?
She does lashes. She does hair. She does nails. She's an entrepreneur.
Does she have a website?
Yes.
Yes. What's the name of her website? You think?
Yeah, I think. I don't be on her. I don't shop with her.
Got it?
Looking.
Did you have a conversation with Miss Taylor about these 5 wigs? Did you have a conversation with her?
Yes.
Do you have a cell phone?
Me? No.
Did you ever have a cell phone?
Yes.
What happened to your cell phone?
I broke it, so I went on another one.
And you didn't get another one?
It have to get sent to the house. I just broke it. Like, I just broke it.
You just broke it?
Yeah.
So
last
you
week.
have a cell phone. Tell me how you broke the cell phone.
I got real angry and I threw it.
You got angry with somebody?
Yes.
And tell me how your girlfriend lost her cell phone.
Oh, she gave it to me.
And when did she lose her cell phone?
She gave me that phone. I bought her another phone. She gave me that phone.
So she gave you,
around.
just a second. So she gave you the phone that she had been using.
Yes.
Which had Joyce information on it. That was the phone she gave you.
Yeah.
Sit down. Mr. Ms. Taylor, you want to be in business, you have to pay for what you ordered. It's
Yeah,
absolutely,
okay.
I'm not speaking to you, it's absolutely outrageous that she sent you these wigs, they were delivered to your house, and she not only doesn't have the wig, she doesn't have not only her profit, she doesn't have any money. And you've got a lot of clients that you can't identify, and phones that got lost, and information that you don't have. And information that you don't have, Clients that are no longer clients, that blocked you. I mean, people who block you after you work for them for a year, that means that you're either doing a lousy job.
No, because the way she came at me, I actually chumped them off because I feel like you're messing up my business. So I chumped them off, and I guess she didn't want to reply, and she just blocked me.
2196, judgment for the plaintiff.
Your Honor, I have other text messages. I was out of business for like month and a half.
I have to tell you something. I can't discern whether you lost business or not because of this. I cannot discern that. I can give you back the money that you lost as a result of shipping her 5 wigs and not getting compensated for it.
And I also had court fees, and I ordered a PI as well.
But
Just a second.
More people
that
do
I will
this me
hear.
for wigs.
What
You
were
the
your court
scammer.
fees?
I'm not the only person you suing. If I pulled up
Nobody
and bought a wig, why wouldn't I?
Nobody is listening to you.
Okay, well, can I leave?
No.
'Cause it's
Court fees.
like.
And I also have my incident report that day.
Just a second. Would you please just give me the court fees? You said you had court fees and you hired an investigator.
Yes, I did.
And I'd like to see that invoice, because that's you're entitled to.
I have the text messages of my PI.
I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is that you're handing me. I asked you what the court fees were.
I have my PI phone number.
You have nothing.
I didn't print out my court fees, but I do have my more.
Do you have an invoice from the investigator that you say that you hired? Messages. I need an invoice, a payment.
I did a payment, $400, and we have the text message trying to find her everything.
Can I see it, please? It was $250 for skip tracing and $150 for service.
My sales went down.
Just a second. Did this person serve her?
Yes, they did.
2196, judgment for the plaintiff. That's it. We're
This
done.
court is adjourned.
I never did it. You know, I just got it sent to my house.
We went through everything. We had to go through birthdays.
It's like saying, oh, I know a friend that they know how to cut hair.
Text messages, everything.
And then you don't like your haircut. What you want me to pay for your haircut? Like, girl.
We literally hawked her down for the information.
She honestly messed up my clientele.
It would be easy to be forthcoming with me and say, these are the clients who I sold it to. I gave her the information. They were supposed to pay her, whatever, but she didn't.
A lot of running around.
A lot of running
story.
around. And there's no question that the plaintiff sold her those wigs. She made a markup. She made a 25% markup. That's okay. And I'm certain that she put in the wigs and made her own markup. You know, that's commerce. But this ability to reverse charges on a credit card and to have somebody, and it's usually just a person, we're not talking about a committee or a tribunal that determine whether or not the charge was legitimate, just to reverse it. And then where are you? You're left without your product. Very frustrating.
It's a double-edged sword. It can be very useful. I've had to do that on a few different occasions. And the process is very hidden and sort of behind the curtain. And I fear for people like the plaintiff who run their own business, hardworking people who make the best money on the internet because there's no overhead fee of running a store.
Xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình và đến với series tô màu tranh nhé. Hôm nay thì mình sẽ tô màu cho một cô bé đang đi biển nha. Và đây sẽ là bức tranh của ngày hôm nay. Hãy cùng mình theo dõi và tô màu ngay bây giờ cùng với mình nhé. Đầu tiên thì chúng mình sẽ cùng nhau tô cái phần cái gì ta? Không biết là cái gì. Kiểu như là da buộc tóc, hình hoa. Chợt nghe thấy ở ngoài máy giặt có tiếng lạch cạch. Thật. Điềm chó. Tao nghe tao còn nổi cả da cả này.
Ác của thôi má, làm gì mà làm như kiểu ác của Free Fire á.
Chắc tao bị ám ảnh sau khi tao xem cái phim kia. Mái tóc thì mình sẽ tô màu nâu nha. Mày không nhớ một đợt tao ám ảnh vì cái bộ phim thì sao suốt ngày đi ngủ tao phải chê chán à? Rồi nghĩ lại ra vẫn còn thấy sợ ấy. Kinh lắm thật. Tao phải review. Bọn tên tao trên TikTok review là cũng không ghê lắm đâu. Xong rồi tao đi xem về hết hồn luôn.
Hết hồn.
Kinh lắm, có cảnh thôi không kể Đức nữa. Đối hai đứa mới mất ngủ. Kinh lắm, Đức ạ, muốn nghe không?
Không. Từ chối để nghe.
Sao vậy?
Từ chối để listening.